Hey everybody, this is Chris Kirkpatrick here, and I am here to show you today a webinar that is going to just blow your mind, showing you how you can in fact build your own asset. I talk to a lot of people a lot about how they're just kind of broke, they don't have any money saved, they don't know where they're going to find their money, they don't know how they're going to save it. So I heard that so often that I felt like I needed to do something about it. So what I want to do is I want to encourage you to get out your notes. Take out a notepad. Make sure you write down any questions you have. Feel free to email me with any questions. You see the email address down there, chris@life180.com. I'm putting my email out there for all you to be able to use. And check out the buildyourownasset.com website. And I'm telling you, if I'm moving too fast, because I'm going to jam right through this, make sure that you actually go in and you watch the replay of this webinar, and you will have access to the replay. So here we go. Once again, my name is Chris Kirkpatrick. I want to kind of give you a little bit of an intro to me. I was I guess the first and foremost thing to say is I'm a numbers guy, right? I was a top 100 international poker player online in the entire world, which is a pretty phenomenal feat. I got up as high as number 64 in the entire world, but I did that because I'm a numbers guy. I'm a systems guy. And I built my whole online poker playing career simply by implementing online systems and playing multiple tables at the same time, and being able to leverage those multiple tables and having a system in which I played in. Now, once I stopped playing poker, I entered the financial industry. Now, I wanted to get into the financial industry to help people, right? I have a passion for economics and politics and finance, personal finance, all that stuff. And my drive was to get into the financial industry to be able to help coach people and so on and so forth. And so I joined a Fortune 1000 financial firm. I did really well as a personal financial advisor right out of the gate. And I did so well that I got promoted. And before you knew it, I was actually a recruiter, a team builder, and I had, by the time I left, I had built one of the top teams in the entire country, in the entire nation, in the whole company of a Fortune 1000 financial firm. So that on its own right there gave me a lot of experience, gave me the confidence and the knowledge and the information. But the one thing that it gave me was insight into the industry, and insight into the fact that, you know what, a lot of the things that people think to be true simply aren't, right? And I realized that all the things that I wanted to teach people, all the ways that I wanted to help people, what I realized was I couldn't do what I wanted to do, right? I couldn't go out and reach the person that I really wanted to help, because the bottom line is the people with all the money out there, they don't need all the help, right? I wanted to help the people who didn't think they qualified for a financial advisor. I wanted to help the person who, maybe had destroyed credit and was so far in debt they didn't know how to get their nose above the water. And so that's what this is all about, and that's what this build your own asset strategy is all about, because not everybody has the income they feel that they need to be able to save for their future. Not everybody feels like they're in control of their financial life. And what I want to show you here is that every single person in the world has the ability and capacity to be able to build their own asset and regain control, or gain control for the first time ever of their financial life. And the reality of our current situation is that the financial strategies that people are using in this world are just not working. If you look around at the results people are getting, it's absolutely sickening in where people are. And I'm not one of those people who tends to think that it's individuals' fault, right? We obviously have to take responsibility for our own actions and all that stuff. But the reality is that there are systematic issues in our financial system leading to really, really terrible results. And it's not hard to fix. And so we're going to go through some of that. But look at the debt that we have in this country. Look at the lack of savings. And you can see alone here that the average credit card debt in this nation is over $15,000, with over a 15% interest rate on that debt. The average mortgage debt is $165,000. The average outstanding student loan balance is almost $50,000. The average student or auto loan debt, I should say, is over $27,000. That's close to $30,000. That's above, literally, the $27,000, that's above the average income in this country. So people's average auto loan is higher than the average income in this country. So that's a problem. With only 40% of Americans having $500 saved in case of an emergency, that means anytime anybody is exposed, basically 60% of Americans, it doesn't take a lot for $500 to be in need, right? For you to come across a situation where, if you don't have $500, you're going to be up the creek without a paddle. So that is a big situation, negative situation to be in. And all of these things are leading people to these results where you get to the end of your working days and you get to the end of your career, and 92% of Americans right now are entering retirement and they don't even have enough money in their account to maintain their current standard of living. That's not the American dream that I was kind of taught about when I was growing up. And that, even furthermore, not only is it not the American dream, but what are we going to do? That's going to become a massive problem as the retiree community doesn't have any money, doesn't have any income, doesn't have any assets. They're going to get sick. They're going to become a burden, and it's going to be the generation behind them's responsibility to take care of them. And yes, I believe it's our responsibility to do so, and we don't want to let the elderly suffer. But what I want to do is show people a way that they're never going to have to worry about that. So a lot of what we're going to be doing here is going to be really challenging if what you thought to be true about retirement and retirement planning and saving for your future, if a lot of what you thought about that turned out not to be true, when would you want to know? That's the real question. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some comparisons of traditional stock market, traditional retirement planning, if you will. We can't get into it all, but this is going to be a good surface level introduction. And if you're interested in more detailed stuff, you can go to life180.com. But we're going to get into that, and we're going to compare that to social marketing and building a social marketing business. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry, we'll get into it. You'll understand it more as we go through. But let's just look at these two things as just two different assets. Even if you don't know anything about them, you think about, as I go through these, which of the two would you prefer, right? So the first one is stock market investing. And the first principle of that is delayed gratification. The whole concept is you have to take money out of your pocket today, not spend that money, put it in an account that you can save, not have access to. That way you have that money there when you retire 20 plus years from now, right? That's delayed gratification. And when people are looking at that, not many people in this world have the ability or desire to save, or discipline, I should say, to save for something that's a couple decades out when they have immediate needs to support their families today. So that's a big thing. Now, with a social marketing business and our building your own asset strategy, you can save the same amount of money. In a lot of situations, you can actually save a fraction of what most people would need to save in a traditional account, and you'll be able to benefit, literally begin benefiting as early as year one with increased cash flow, with increased standard of living, and by increasing your overall lifestyle. And if you compound, you can actually compound the benefits of this by taking the extra cash flow and the extra gains. If you don't need it for lifestyle stuff, you can actually roll that in to more investment, and it can compound in an extremely powerful way. The second component is when you invest in the stock market, you are investing in something, I should say, that you do not control. You have zero control over the stock market, over if it's going to go up, if it's going to go down. People that invest in mutual funds, people that do anything of that nature, which most Americans, most people in North America, in fact, are investing in mutual funds. If you have a 401k, if you have an IRA, if you have a Roth IRA, if you have anything of that nature, most likely you have money in mutual funds. And I'm not saying mutual funds are bad. Definitely would want to talk to your advisor if you're working with somebody about that. But the bottom line is it's key that you understand where your money's going. And my overall philosophy is never invest in anything you don't understand. And if you don't understand all the ins and outs of the fees and the expense structures of your mutual funds or your investment accounts, what you're paying advisory fees for, if you have any load fees that go, all this technical stuff that goes into investments, if you don't understand that all, and most advisors I find don't understand it all, you shouldn't invest in it. So what I want to show you is with our build your own asset concept, you are 100% in control of your results, right? And I think that's a big problem we have in our traditional investment strategy right now, is that people just kind of say, well, I got a guy for that, or I got a girl for that, I got a woman who handles my finances, or I got a man who handles my finances, my advisor, and so they don't know where their money is invested. So I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of empathy or sympathy for people who, when the stock market crashes, they kind of they blame their advisor, and the reality is you are in control of your own decisions on where your money goes. And what I want to do is be able to show you a way that you can actually grab it by the reins and control your financial life. Next, the stock market is extremely volatile and unpredictable, right? We know that the volatility in the stock market is just here to stay, right? And we don't know when or how strong it's going to go up or how hard it's going to crash, but we just know that it's going to boom and it's going to bust, right? We're going to have boom cycles where everybody thinks nothing could ever go wrong, and then we're going to have bust cycles where things go so bad so quickly and everybody thinks the sky is falling. I call it Chicken Little syndrome, right? Everybody thinks the sky is falling, and the reality is neither one of those are true. And I'm going to show you how you can avoid those curves and you can actually benefit from them. And all I can tell you, not only with our build your own asset strategy are you 100% in control, but it is 100% predictable. You are not going to find another asset in the world that can do this for you. The other challenge with the stock market is that you have little to no access to your own money for emergencies or opportunity. This is a big thing. One of the old adages in the world is cash is king, right? That's I'm 35 and my grandfather, that was a big thing. Cash is king. And I'm going to say today in this day and age, cash isn't necessarily king anymore because our interest rate environment is different. That's another conversation. But access to cash is king for certain. And access to capital is key. And there's a lot of opportunity out there, but those that have access to the cash, those that have access to the cash flow and the capital are the ones that have access to that opportunity. And when you put your money in the stock market, you typically don't have access to that money until 20 plus years from now. So you lose a lot of short-term opportunity that really doesn't entail a lot of risk. What I want to show you with the build your own asset concept is that it will increase your cash flow from day one potentially, and certainly within year one, right? And you can have access to your money with increased cash flow to protect you against emergencies, and it'll give you more access to capital, cash flow, all that stuff for opportunity to make sure that you are able to take advantage of more opportunities so you don't have to pass opportunity up as you approach them or as you kind of have them coming at you through life. Because we all have opportunities that come at us, but too often people have to pass them up because they just don't have access to capital. So building your own asset with Life 180 strategy here will help you. Now, the next one, as I said last time, is that a couple slides ago, is that the market's extremely volatile and unpredictable. But I also said the market will predictably, it's unpredictable, I should say, on when it's going to go up, but it is very predictable that we know it is going to boom and we know it's going to bust. And the challenge is when it busts, when it goes down, what that does is it interrupts your ability to really allow your money to compound. And Albert Einstein said compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. We talked about debt a couple slides ago, and Albert Einstein said compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. When you see that slide of all the debt, that's people not understanding how compounding interest in those scenarios is working against them. And in this situation, when the market crashes, that hurts your ability to earn compound interest too, because when your asset, if you have an asset and it loses 50% of its value like it did in 2008, like it did in 2000, when that happens, you need to earn 100% on what you have left just to get even. And that doesn't even account for fees or anything of that nature. So it's really hard. The market is predictably going to go up and down in very crazy, extreme ways. That's what we call boom and bust cycles. And what I want to do is I want to show you a way with the build your own asset to earn uninterrupted compounding growth over time, which will lead to true wealth with little risk. You're never going to do anything that's worth doing in this world, I believe, without having at least a little risk. But if I told you a way that you could have uninterrupted compounding growth over time, and you could build your wealth in a situation that you were in 100% control, and that it was 100% predictable, and the only variable in your success was you, what would you have to say about that? So let's go back now. Let's go back to the traditional planning model, right? And let's take a look at what it looks like. Right? I said you have to delay gratification, and most people aren't going to want to do this. It's one of the reasons people are not saving enough right now. But let's look at why. And look at the spreadsheet here that I kind of put together. You have a $60,000 earned income right here. You can see $60,000 household income. If somebody's supposed to save $10,000 of their total household income, which is the standard of what most financial advisors will tell you need to do, that's $6,000 going into an investment every year. If after everything, after all your fees, expenses, everything in your investment accounts, you can earn 6% every year on a compounding uninterrupted basis, meaning no negative years, which, by the way, I'm being very generous with this number based on results of history, but we're just going to go with it, and I'm going to show you. You can see here that you save $6,000 a year for 20 years, and at the end of that, what it looks like you've done is you've really put $120,000 into savings, but after your growth, because of the return on your investments, you have almost $234,000 in an account, and at the start of year 21, you have $243,000 in an account. But it's not the amount of money in that account that matters, because when you retire, There's no more cash flow. So it doesn't matter that you have nearly $250,000 in this account. What matters is, what is this account going to be able to give you for income for the rest of your life? And right now, if you could get a 4% distribution out of this, meaning take 4% annually out of it, that's about what the number is with all the Monte Carlo simulations out there right now, saying that you can get for income out of this account without really being at great risk of running out of money. So the $250,000, nearly $250,000, what it does is it gets you about a $12,000 a year income. Now, if you made $60,000 today, $12,000 a year 20 years from now is not going to be that much money. And that's going to be a problem. Yes, you'll have Social Security, you have all these other things, but the reality is if you're living on $60,000 today, you're going to need about $120,000 just to maintain your standard of living then. So what's happening is that people don't have faith in the process. $6,000 a year is $500 a month, and I talk to people every day. Most people don't have $500 a month to save in the first place, especially with knowing what the results are and knowing that the numbers you're looking at here are not even realistic, because 6% is a pipe dream in my opinion right now. And even with this, there are no guarantees. And so when you add together, I should say, the stress that goes with saving $500 a month and the fact that people just don't have faith in where it's going to get them, of course people aren't going to be saving. Now let's look at the alternative, right? Look at building your income. Let's look at building cash flow, a cash flow stream, building your own asset through social marketing, right? And I'm going to just say right now, social marketing is another word. It's a word that we use. It's a phrase that we use for network marketing. And you can see here what this is going to do for you, and what you're going to be looking at here is we're going to be freeing up cash flow instantly, because compared to the last example where you were saving $500 a month, in this scenario, you only have to save or invest $200 a month into your own business, right? That's what we're talking about, building an asset. You are in 100% control of this, unlike the results of your investment account in the traditional model, right? 6% is not guaranteed. In the last slide that I showed you, 6% is not guaranteed, but to make it worse, you're not even in control of those results. In this scenario, sure, nothing is guaranteed, but you are 100% in control of the results. The only variable in your success, and success from one person to another, is the individual themselves. And what I'm going to show you here is not only are we going to be able to increase your standard of living because we're going to increase the $300 a month cash flow just in the difference, but we're going to have increased cash output from the asset literally beginning as early as year 1 or year 2, which, remember, the traditional model makes it so you have to just put money away and have no income coming out, literally no income coming out for over 20 years. And the reality is that anybody can do this. I could teach a monkey how to do this. You just have to be disciplined. You have to be able to follow a system. You have to be willing to plug in, and you might have to be willing to do some things that make you a little uncomfortable and push you outside of your comfort zone. But the reality is what are your alternatives? There are no other options that can get you where you want to go on a more guaranteed basis than what I'm about to show you. That I can promise you. So what we have here with the Build Your Own Asset strategy is a 4-step plan for success. Literally, this is it. It's this simple. It's this simple. You ready? You take $200, you invest it per month into your business. So rather than $500 standard savings and investments into a traditional account, you're freeing up $300, literally $300 per month in cash flow that you can use to pay down debt, make your other elements of your financial life more efficient, and you put that $200 that you have left into building your own business. Now, you keep that investment going and you don't give up. I'm going to get into that more later, but you want to become profitable as soon as possible. You want to become profitable. And I know this all sounds common sense. I'm going to make it make more sense and give more details to what I'm talking about. But the key here is if you do this right and you follow a system and you plug in and you listen to what we're talking about, listen to what I'm talking about here. I'm going to show you ways that you can grow your business predictably by 20% annually between years 2 and 20. And you can even grow it by, you should be growing it by 20% per month year 1 and by 20% annually years 2 through 20. And let's look into the realities of how we're going to pull this off. So starting with step 1, I just want to reiterate a couple things. First and foremost, look at this as an investment, right? You're building a business, but you're investing into your business. We have to first understand the difference between an investment and an expense. And this investment into your business is not an expense. It's the same type of investment as it would be if you were putting that money into a retirement account, right? It is delayed gratification, but it's not as delayed. And just as we talked about, yes, you're delaying gratification. You're not going to be able to spend that $200 on maybe going to the movies or going out to dinner. But this investment into your business is going to start paying dividends, if you will, much, much sooner than an investment into a standard retirement account. It's going to help you increase your cash flow much more quicker. First and foremost, because it's going to free up. You're not going to have to save as much. You're going to be able to do a lot more by spending or saving or investing a lot less. And what you could do is take the difference and invest that in towards paying down your toxic debt, whether that's credit cards, paying off high interest rates on student loans, high interest rates on credit cards, and just helping your financial life become more efficiently, quicker. And when you do that, that is the first step of regaining control of your financial life. Now, all that's great, but remember, you got to keep the investment going. And I've mentioned several times now the whole concept of the delayed gratification. And the challenges with this and any other financial strategy is that you really have to be disciplined. You really have to stick with it. And the reality is, with any business like this, people want immediate results. You have to start with the end in mind, and you have to be disciplined. You have to understand the system, and you have to stick with it. When people get involved in any business or any strategy, we have this kind of microwave mindset in the world today where we want what we want and we want it now. And so what I want to encourage you to do is that don't be like the majority of people in the world who get into something and when they don't see immediate results, they quit, right? Because think about the alternatives. Saving $500 a month and sticking to that and being stuck with that, not knowing your results for 20 years. Or you can stick with something for a year and see how it plays out and be dedicated to it and disciplined with it to achieve the results that you want to achieve. And my only question to you, literally, is what are your alternatives? Because if you don't take a serious look at this, I just ask you to look at what else you have going on in your life. What other options do you have to get to where you want to go? And if you have some, that's awesome. I still encourage you to take a look at this because I promise you there's nothing that if you do it properly is going to beat this. Literally nothing on the face of the earth. Yet at the same time, most people don't have that other plan. They don't have that other option. So if you're there, if you're the type of person like I was at one point in time in my life that didn't know what you were going to do, didn't have the other option, didn't have the alternative. If you're somebody who's made a lot of money and maybe lost it and you're just trying to figure out ways to get back to good and be able to get back to the life that you are accustomed to or the life that you desire, this is an alternative that I'm telling you that it will accomplish what you want to accomplish on a more guaranteed basis than anything else in the entire world. So step 3, sounds very simple, sounds straightforward and very basic, but it warrants a conversation because becoming profitable as soon as possible, obviously everybody knows, oh, duh, that's what I need to do. But the reality is not everybody does it. Not everybody wants to get out of the gates quickly. And the reality is that what makes this possible for everybody is that every single person in this world has the ability to dedicate a couple hours a week into building this asset because everybody has the ability to put sweat equity into building something of this nature, to create an asset, to create a cash flow, to create a life that you love. And the only variable, once again, is you. So get out of the gates quickly. Don't be somebody who puts it off till next month. Try to become profitable in month 1. You can be profitable in month 1 or month 12, right? And if I told you that becoming profitable in month 1 would give you an extra $6,000 or $8,000 of income during the year compared to becoming profitable in month 12, which one is important to you? Is it worth you spending an extra 5 to 10 hours a week for month 1 just to get out of the gate strong to create an extra $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 a year in revenue for the first year? That if you look at it properly, getting out to the good start, literally, it sounds crazy, but getting out to that good start, it might take you 30, 40 hours of work during your first month, but if that 40 hours of work creates $10,000 of income, is that worth it to you? And the reality is profitability equals more cash flow. More cash flow equals a higher standard of living, and that's ultimately what you're going for. And it's not just a higher standard of living today, it's a higher standard of living that gets better and better and better and better moving forward, and you're not going to find anything that can do it with as minimal of an investment as we're talking about here. And so become profitable as soon as you possibly can. Get out of the gate strong. Don't lollygag, don't take your time. Urgency is key. You're the only one in control. And push forward here. And when you're pushing forward, you can literally experience, like I said, there's no other asset on the face of the earth where you're going to have the opportunity to earn 20% predictable growth every single year. No other asset is going to be able to do this for you. And what I say to people is literally your first year, while I say 20% per year growth, I by the way, am giving these numbers to you. They're very, very conservative numbers, right? I'm telling you, for the average person, you should be growing your business by 25% per month during the first year. 25% per month. And if all you did after that is have 2% growth per month, years 2 through 20, you're going to have better results than anything you could have ever dreamed in your entire life financially for most people. We're talking literally, if you do that, you can single-handedly put yourself into the top 5% of income earners. Hands down, no questions asked. It just takes time. Everybody has the ability to do it, right? But the bottom line is that if you follow what I'm showing you and you plug into the system, you can create more income by year 10, by the way, with less work, right? On an ongoing basis, with life getting better and better, you can create more income by year 10 than you would have after 20 years of complete delayed gratification with a traditional model. I don't know about you, but I'll take the build your own asset plan over a traditional strategy for investment every single day of the week. Here you can see why, because the bottom line is look at the options of how compounding works for you. You can see the traditional plan. This is cash flow, right? This is cash flow compounding. You can see the blue line here is the traditional plan. What have you done? You've delayed gratification for 20 years only to take a flat level income for the rest of your life. For the next, that line will go on and on and on. But the reality is that you got $12,000 a year of income in the blue line, and you can see the orange line here. That's the build your own asset strategy. That's what I'm talking about, where your cash flow is going to get better and better and better. Now, it is delayed gratification. You can see that the line doesn't just start popping up through the roof. Don't forget this line, that compounding growth chart, that can happen much, much faster. That can literally start curving up, at least semi like that, starting year 1 or year 2. But what I have to say is, even if that doesn't happen, why I say every single person can do this is because every person in the world has the ability to put the amount of time it takes to required out of you to create 2% per month growth. That is not a hard thing to accomplish. So just take a look. A picture says 1,000 words, and this alone says, do you want $12,000 a year of income, right, 30 years from now, or do you want over $450,000 a year of income? And it's really that straightforward, and it's really that predictable, because I can tell you, to accomplish the build your own asset orange curve here, to accomplish that is as predictable, if not more predictable, than it is to accomplish the traditional plan, to accomplish that blue line there. And literally, it's all done with less out-of-pocket expense and saving on your side of the table. The key thing to note, though, here is that there are no guarantees in life, and that this isn't for every single person by any stretch of the imagination. This is literally only for people who are interested in really grabbing control of their financial life, grabbing control of their life, and saying, I have something that I want to accomplish. I want to do something big. I want to be able to have freedom in life. I don't want to be owned by my money. I want to own my money. I want to be in control. And the only thing you have to do to accomplish that is by putting work in, right? Because every single person, hopefully you've seen, every single person could do this, but it's not easy. I'm not trying to say by any stretch that this is an easy thing to accomplish. It's just predictable, and it's hard work, but it's predictable. And I'm going to say that word a lot. It's predictable, because if you just put in A, you're going to get B, and if you put in B, you're going to get C, and so on and so forth. And that's how it goes. It's a very systematic process that will kick out predictable, increasing cash flow, which will give you an increased standard of living as you go through life on a much more predictable basis than any other investment that you're going to invest in, right? And the reality is, if you look at the world around, there are no guarantees in life. And if you just look at the traditional mindset and the traditional mode of investing, I gave you a 6% average to accomplish those averages. But if you look at the last 15 years from 2000 to 2014, people actually lost money in the S&P 500 when adjusted for inflation. Literally, that is crazy. That means if you invested money in 2000 in the S&P 500, your money was actually worth less, meaning you could buy less with that money after inflation than you today in 2015 than you could have in 2000 before the market, before you put the money in the market. So that right there is that's a tough spot to be in. And that's why people right now are feeling lost. They're feeling like they don't know what to do. And so this is just an alternative. It's not easy, but you can get there. This is the only investment in the world that you're going to have pure control over your own results and have predictable results, and where you're the only variable in the outcome of your financial life. And I think why I'm so passionate about this concept and why I designed the build your own asset concept is because I got to the point where, I care about people, and I want people to be able to have what they want in life and to achieve the financial results and goals that they want in life. And what to me is the most important is showing people a way that they can get where they want to go, showing them the right bus to hop on to go to where they want to go. And this is that bus. And all I can say now is, if this bus is right for you, if you want this for yourself, if you want this for your family, if you want this lifestyle, if you want the increased cash flow, if you want to see what I do, strategies that I use personally, strategies that I coach people. Some of the wealthiest clients that I have are doing this and utilizing this strategy. And I'm telling you, if you're interested in this, be sure to connect with us. Be sure you can learn more about the asset that I'm using for this. We're building it out. It's a phenomenal. The results have been outstanding. We're helping people get $500, $1,000 a month in extra cash flow in their first year of business and it only takes a $200 a month investment to get going, and it's unbelievable. And it's, once again, all done on a predictable basis. So if you're interested in learning more, you can check it out. We do webinars. The Tuesday night at 7:30 webinar, that's right now going on. That is subject to change, but you can always just go to the kirklife.com/meet-us-live. Right there, you can see that link. Write it down. You can always go there, and the schedule will be updated. But feel free to go in, reserve your seat. Anybody's welcome to join on. Just check it out. There's no obligation, no pressure, no pain. But if you just want to learn a little bit more about what a social business model is, what a network marketing asset looks like, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, check that link out and go check it out. Go take a look. If you're interested in joining our apprenticeship team that shows people how to build this asset and how to increase their cash flow, check it out and we'll go from there. If you have any questions, once again, cycling back to the beginning, my email is chris@life180.com. I hope you feel empowered. I hope you feel confident enough that you can email me with any questions. Feel free to reach out with anything. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to engage. In fact, I love serving in that capacity, and I love nothing more. So do not hesitate to contact me. Until we meet again, until we talk next time, or I see you on a future webinar, live abundantly, live efficiently, live Life 180. Have a great night.